Goalkeepers are heroes, real superheroes. They run, jump, fly, and put their lives on the line just to save shots sent at them from all angles game after game. Many saves are great, but some are absolutely out of this world. And it's those saves we want to look at as we look at those incredible saves that get progressively better. And we'll start with Jordan Pickford. For those who still wonder why he's the undisputed #1 for Everton and England, here's just one of the many reasons. In the 2021-22 season, Everton needed a hero in their Premier League game against Chelsea, and Pickford came up trumps. He pulled up this truly incredible save, which helped Everton secure a very important win. The save was so good, it became the first ever winner of the Premier League Save of the Season award. The next season, it was Chelsea's Kepa Arrizabalaga who won the award for his crazy double save against Aston Villa. The first save was great, but the quick reflexes to get up and make the second save, now that's a lot more impressive. But we just could not talk about double saves without mentioning Jerzy Dudek, could we? The Polish shot-stopper pulled off the most insane double save in the 2005 UEFA Champions League final against AC Milan. When talking about that game, we often call it the Miracle of Istanbul, referring to the crazy comeback Liverpool pulled off that night, coming from 3 goals down to eventually win the game. But this save right here was a whole miracle on its own as well. How the heck was he even able to do that? And speaking of goalkeeping miracles in Champions League finals, reminds us of Thibaut Courtois in the 2022 final against Liverpool. Many have called that the best goalkeeping display in a Champions League final. And boy, how can you argue against that? Just take a look at this save. The man just threw his huge frame in the way and stopped Salah from scoring. And the thing is, Liverpool's attack was crazy in that game. Courtois was just a lot crazier. The Belgian goalie kept a clean sheet, and that was enough to win Madrid the trophy. And you could say the same for Ederson in 2023. The Brazilian goalie made this incredible save in the very last second of the Champions League final between Man City and Inter Milan. And that was enough to preserve the 1-0 lead and win City their first ever Champions League trophy. That right there is a save no Man City fan will ever forget for the rest of their lives. But, saves are not only made by goalkeepers. Sometimes players play the role of goalies and make clearances that are as good as incredible saves. A very good example is John Terry, when he made this insane goal line clearance at the 2006 World Cup. If he wasn't there, that would have been a very clear goal. But perhaps a better and more consequential goal line clearance is one from another English centre-back, John Stones. This one came in one of those fiercely contested Premier League games between Man City and Liverpool, and we very nearly saw an own goal from City until Stones showed up and pulled off this save. The ball was millimeters away from fully crossing the line, but Stones was there at the rightest time, if there's anything like that. And you see, that clearance didn't only save the day for City, it also saved them the league. That season, City beat Liverpool to the league by just 1 point, which meant that if Stones had not made that save, Liverpool would have had 2 more points and would have won the league. Crazy, isn't it? Another crazy one is this Dani Olmo headed clearance off the line in the last seconds of the 2024 Euro final. If he wasn't there to make that clearance, that game would have gone into extra time, and who knows what could have happened. So technically, you could say that it was this save that stopped football from coming home. Now, of course, a headed clearance from a defender is impressive. But you know what's even more impressive? A headed clearance from a goalkeeper. Gregory Coupé is one hell of a goalie. He played for Lyon, Saint-Étienne, Atletico Madrid and PSG, and he was immense each time he was called up. For those who didn't know him and never got to watch him, just take a look at this double save and you'll understand what we mean. This is just out of this world. First, he stopped what would have been an embarrassing own goal with an inventive headed save, and then he got up super quickly to stomp Rivaldo. Double saves simply don't get better than this. But not all great saves have to be dramatic and acrobatic. Some are just about staying big and strong and having crazy reflexes, just like Manuel Neuer when he stopped this shot from Cristiano Ronaldo in a Champions League game between Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. It might look like he didn't do much there, But that right there was one hell of a save. This is why some call him the GOAT. But for some, the GOAT is still Gianluigi Buffon, and it's hard to argue against him, to be honest. This guy constantly puts up big saves on the biggest stages up until his 40s. Against Barcelona in the 2015 Champions League final, he pulled off one of the craziest saves we've ever seen. The ball deflected off a defender, but Buffon was still able to keep the ball out of the net. What a guy! He was the man for the big stages. And what stage could be bigger than the World Cup final? Remember when he produced this ridiculous save to deny Zinedine Zidane an extra time of the 2006 World Cup final to keep things level. Thanks to that save, Italy were able to take the game to extra time, where they beat France on penalties to win the World Cup. Crazy. And talking about the World Cup just reminds us of Guillermo Ochoa. The World Cup was his stage. It never mattered how he played throughout the season. Whenever he showed up at the World Cup, he instantly became one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And when he went up against hosts Brazil at the 2014 World Cup, he showed the stuff he was made of by producing this insane save to stop Neymar. Neymar did everything right there, but Ochoa still managed to stop the ball from going in, and he didn't care if he was going to clash with the woodwork. He was just determined to make that save. What a guy! And could we possibly talk about saves at the World Cup without mentioning Iker Casillas? This guy remains one of the reasons Spain have a World Cup trophy. 1v1 against one of the deadliest left-footed attackers the game has ever seen in the second half of a goalless World Cup final. Casillas came out bravely, made himself big, and pulled off one of the greatest saves we've ever seen in a final. If that ball had gone in, that would have probably been it for Spain. There may not have been a way back for them. Do you now see why we call goalkeepers superheroes? He saved the day there. Another reason we call them superheroes is because they can fly. I mean, look at Gianluigi Donnarumma here. Usually, when Angel Di Maria cuts in from the right and manages to get a good shot in with his left foot, it's all over. But this time around, Donnarumma flew high to make the stop. This is just so ridiculous, guys. Really, ridiculous. But you know what else is ridiculous? This otherworldly save from Tim Howard against Portugal at the 2014 World Cup. The American shotstopper was already on his way down, but he somehow still managed to defy gravity for a second and throw a hand out to make that save. And then we have Oliver Kahn, who threw his entire body in front of a shot just to make a save for Germany at the 2002 World Cup. You see a save like that, and you instantly understand why Kahn remains the only goalkeeper to have ever been awarded the World Cup Golden Ball. He was just so insanely good. And since we're talking about German goalkeepers, let's look at one of the greatest double saves in Champions League history, which came from a German goalkeeper against German opponents. This was from the Bayern Munich vs Barcelona game in 2015, and Marc-Andre ter Stegen was one of the reasons Barcelona made it to the final that year. I mean, look at this save he came up with to stop Robert Lewandowski. The first save was so brilliant, but it wasn't enough, so he had to get back in time quick enough to stop the ball just before it crossed the line completely. And that was exactly what he did. UEFA named it the Champions League save of the season, and you have to say it was very deserving. Another save very deserving of being on this list is this one from Ben Amos. This guy wasn't even facing the ball, and he still managed to make a ridiculous save like that. How the heck is that even humanly possible? Also, can anyone tell us how this was humanly possible? Mickey van de Ven ran the entire length of the pitch and got back just in time to make an incredibly important goal line clearance. Nah, this guy's a freak of nature. That's the only way to explain this. And you know who else is a freak of nature? Jan Oblak. We all saw him make Cristiano Ronaldo cry after he saved his extra time penalty at Euro 2024. But what we're about to show you is 10 times crazier than that. Trust us. This one came in the UEFA Champions League when Atletico went up against Bayer Leverkusen in the knockout rounds of the 2016-17 season. Atletico were desperate to get to the next round, and they needed a hero. Guess who stepped up? Jan Oblak. He pulled off the most unbelievable triple save you will ever see, and helped Atletico make it to the final 8. That right there was ridiculous. It's virtually impossible to not be shocked when you see that. How do you even explain it? And you see this next save, it's also really hard to explain, you simply just had to be there. Seconds to go to penalties in this World Cup quarter-final game between Ghana and Uruguay. Ghana were on the verge of becoming the first African team to reach the semi-finals of the World Cup. In the very last moments of extra time, one of the Ghanaian players managed to get the ball past the Uruguayan goalkeeper, but Luis Suarez was there. He took matters into his own hands and made an incredible save for Uruguay. He got a red card for that, but he surely had no regrets, because this crazy save helped Uruguay reach the semi-finals of the World Cup that year. But if you thought that was crazy, then this would blow your mind. You see, many factors come together to make a great save. The timing, the risk, the occasion, and of course, the quality of the save itself. And there's not one that checks all these different boxes like the one Emi Martinez made in the final of the 2022 World Cup final. A lot was riding on that save. Kolo Muani's immortalization, French history, Argentinian heartbreak, Lionel Messi's legacy. So much. But in the 3rd minute of additional time, in extra time in the biggest game in world football, Emi Martinez spread his body wide and made the greatest save we have ever seen in the history of the FIFA World Cup to send a fiercely contested game into penalties. He would go on to make an extra save during the penalty shootout to help Argentina score their first World Cup title in 36 years. Looking at the timing, the stage, and the consequence, is this the greatest ever save in the entire history of football? What do you guys think? Tell us in the comments, and as always, give the video a like if you enjoyed it.